And we're back, and our first guest on this segment, well, I can't say he's an old friend because he's really a new friend. I just met him a moment ago. If you would, welcome please, see if I can get this right, Jerry Cockle. Is that correct?
That's right. You said it real good, Jerry Cockle.
Well,
It's real good to be here. Thank you so much.
It's good to have you, lad.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Well, you know, oddly enough, I'm originally from here in Oklahoma.
What part?
What part? Claremore. Wait, where are we right now?
Where?
We're in Claremore. All right. I like that. Yeah, it's my hometown. I drove right past, what is it called? Spirit Explosion. My favorite thing about that store is they refuse to use the letter E, just an X for explosion.
Well, tell me something, Jerry. How old are you?
52.
52.
That's right. How old are you, old timer?
I'm way up there. You don't want to know. It's way, it'll scare you to death.
Well, I don't want that. Last time someone told me their age and they were older than me, I nearly had a heart attack.
I know what you mean. Let's meet your creator now, if we could.
Sure.
If we could go a little wider, gentlemen. And
Oh, gosh, there I am.
show the man
geez.
on the set.
Let's put Jerry away.
Oh, no.
Oh, you want to keep Jerry?
Keep Jerry out.
All right, everyone's going to see the inside of the sausage.
David Bizarro. Good to have you, David.
Lord. See, it's good to be here. The hard part is separating myself from the character once I start doing it. Hi.
There was an old horror film many years ago.
Yeah.
Where the guy had a puppet.
Yeah?
Put it in a suitcase every night. And one night it started talking. And he wasn't doing it. And he opened the suitcase and the thing was talking to him. That ever go through your mind? You ever have that sort of thing happen?
I have never had a bout of psychosis where a puppet had come alive to me, but there was an episode of The Twilight Zone in the 90s where a ventriloquist dummy was taking over someone's hand. And as a kid, that terrified me, and that may have been why I never got into ventriloquism, which I don't do. I just do this weird kind of puppetry. But I think if that does ever happen, I'll probably rethink my career for sure.
You worked Sesame Street for a while. Jim Henson, did you get to meet him?
No, sadly, Jim Henson passed away in the 90s, and that was way before I started working for them. I started working for the Henson Company, I don't remember what year it was, but it was on season 47. No, season 47, sorry. We're on season 53 now, I believe. And when I started working for them, I was working as just a builder, building puppets and props in the shop there in New York. And I then moved on to doing a job called puppet wrangling. And puppet wrangling is basically hair and makeup for puppets. And so I'm on set, I'm working with the puppets and the puppeteers. If Elmo, let's say, gets like a tear in his fur, they give him to me and I sew it real fast, put him back on camera. And if he needs a costume change, they hand it to me. I put on his little tuxedo and I send him back out on camera.
What a great training ground, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's no place really you can go to learn this.
That's a really great point. I'm actually glad you said that because when I started at the Henson Company, I was building, but my background was more in performing. I was an actor before I ever got into puppetry. And when I got to a certain point where I felt like I couldn't progress without really watching the masters at their work. And so when I was building at Henson, someone said, hey, do you want to wrangle to be, and you'll be on set, you'll get to be right in the show, are you into that? And I said, yes, of course, because that put me next to people like Peter Linz, who performs Ernie, and next to people who did work with Jim Henson, like Carmen Oshbar, who plays Rosita on Sesame Street. And she and Peter Linz and Matt Vogel and a lot of other performers ended up becoming my mentors and some of my closest friends.
Well,
and so
you must
I
have
did get to be right in the action.
You must have been very good at it. You've racked up an Emmy.
I did
work.
get an Emmy, yeah.
That's terrific. Congratulations.
I appreciate that, yeah.
You're married, you have a son. Does your son ever say, Dad, break out Jerry?
No, he's 9 months old. If he
he's
were to
too
do
young.
that, I would just be amazed. It would be a pure miracle if he spoke to me in that way. But he does enjoy seeing the puppets. I was uncertain if he would be scared of puppets or not, because kids, when they're really, really little, when they're infants, they have two reactions to puppets. It's either sheer terror or they smile and are really delighted. And so I took him up to my studio and I was like, hey, look at the puppets. And it was interesting. He got really into Jerry. Like, he looked at him and was like, oh my gosh, and really lit up. And so I put him on and started performing him, and he really liked it. And even now, that was when he was like 3 months old. So 3 months later, he's still into the puppets.
Well, make a suggestion.
Sure.
Don't get a dog.
That's a good point. Yeah, might think it's a chew toy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you'll come in someday and Jerry's head will be over here and arm over there, and you'll be out of work.
I don't want to lose my job.
There you are. When did this all start for you?
I started puppetry later in life. I'm 39 now. I started when I was 30. No, when I was 27. And I say later in life because most people, when they start in a creative profession like that, they start when they're like 12 or 13, and they're like, this is what I want to do. I've always wanted to do this. But when I was 27, I was in between jobs, had just finished working for the Flaming Lips. I worked for the Flaming Lips for about 4 years doing backing videos and music videos. And I reached out to a client, a potential client. It was a friend of mine who became a client, but a friend of mine, his family owns the Fowler car dealerships in Oklahoma. And I said, hey, you need commercials like this. And it was a concept with puppets. And he wrote back and said, oh my God, this is brilliant. Can you do that? And I lied and said, of course I can. Of course I can make a puppet commercial for you. And I knew nothing about puppetry. And so I Googled how to build them, how to perform them. That's me in my studio with Jerry right there. There's the Emmy, there it is. And I wrote, produced, built puppets and performed the puppets in a week. So in a week I produced all this stuff. And what I found was that I really enjoyed this craft. And so when I moved to New York with my wife, I dove into it head first. And I reached out to anybody who would offer their wisdom.
You know, Johnny Carson had an interesting take on what you just said. He started with magic, performing magic, loved magic.
Yeah.
But then he realized it wasn't the magic he liked. That's not where his love really rested. It was the reaction of the people. That's what he started to garner. But he got his strength to perform through magic.
Yeah.
There's got to be a change coming in your life. Any idea where you're headed?
You're good. There is actually. I, through puppetry, found that I really enjoy making clothing. And during the pandemic, I had lost my work overnight and was making toilet roll puppets, like you do. And I'd made a little jacket for one of the puppets and posted it online, and someone said, that jacket's amazing, I'd love to have one. And I thought, you know, I could do that. I could make jackets. And so I started teaching myself how to make clothing. And
really?
I made this jacket that I'm wearing now. And actually this month, on March 14th, I'm hoping to launch my clothing brand, Bizarro Clothing.
Son of a gun.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? Well, that's terrific. Send us a catalog, will you?
I will, absolutely.
I'd be curious to see. Does the puppet ever talk to you at night? I mean, does it ever get in your head just before you go to sleep and you say, oh, I got to try that line? You get up, you put it on, you turn on your monitor and you work it to see if the gig works?
Are there things talking to you at home? Because this
Yeah.
is the second time you've asked me about things talking to
Yeah.
me at night before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Only, before I go to bed, it's only my wife that talks to me before I fall asleep. But I will say that, just like any artist who has a passion for something, your ideas come to you when you are the most relaxed, and oftentimes when you're laying in bed, when you're asleep, or when you're just about to fall asleep. What I call is like the subconscious factory, my mind palace, where I'll throw a problem or an idea in the back of my mind, and my subconscious mind will bring the aha forward. And that'll often happen before I go to sleep, or right when I wake up, or as I'm sleeping. And it will be like a voice, sort of like the way I guess the Greek thought of inspiration being, not something from within you, but something external that arrives, right, and gives you the answer. And so it is much like a external voice talking to you when you're working as a creative.
Well, I'm going to stretch our relationship here a bit. Would you put Jerry back on?
Yeah, okay.
For me, and then let's have the three of us have a conversation.
Uh-oh.
And we'll see how that plays.
Goes.
Well, all right, I'm back. I don't have my legs on today, but I'll just sit right here with my
Yeah.
half sides, and you get to see. Look at that. I can see both of us on the monitor right now. It's kind of strange. People, don't worry. There are two people talking with one voice. Don't worry about it.
Jerry, where are you from?
Jerry, well, I like to say I'm actually from Tulsa, Oklahoma, because that's currently where my studio is located. It's located in his studio out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Curious. You ever get funny reactions when you're going through airports?
Sometimes I think the thing that's the most jarring for folks is the fact that I ain't got no legs underneath me. It's just I'm all elbow under there.
No. Let me clarify the question.
Sure.
Does airport security ever say, "What's in the bag, boy"?
Oh, to me.
And then you pull out, your friend.
It's happened to my friends. So some folks that I work with, they'll travel with a puppet. And so Jerry is what we call a live hand puppet. I can actually put my hands inside of here, these little gloves, and I can operate his hands. But most puppets, like Elmo, have rods that go into their hands, and you can take those rods out. When the rods are off of the arms, they look like fireworks, and they look strange. And so when you have those in your bag, the TSA will sometimes stop you and go, "Why do you have a wooden rod with a wire at the end of it? Like, what is this?" But for the most part, no one's ever stopped me. I have pulled Jerry out of a bag in the airport when I see a kid. If like a kid's having a bad day or something, I'll pull him out and he'll talk to them, and he'll like walk over and be like, "How you doing? Oh, look at your head, it looks delicious." Just got a real big mouth, whatnot. And if people are wondering why I'm looking there while he's looking over there, it's because I'm looking at the monitor so that I can see what he's doing. Oh, look, now he has my voice. Hi, I'm David Bizarro.
The tricks of the puppeteer come out.
That's right, yeah.
I'd be curious, and I've got to ask this.
Sure.
How do your neighbors react to your profession?
Oh, they love it, they're so supportive. My wife and I, we moved into our neighborhood, we really lucked out. All of our neighbors are super kind and loving. And when I told them I'm a puppeteer, our neighbors directly across from us, Jim and Judy, Judy is a dancer. She's like, "Oh, I'm a dancer, I love performance." And then our neighbors just directly next to us were like, I used to do fashion design. I love making with my hands. And then the folks right next to us on the other side are photographers. And so they all love art. And puppetry is, this style in particular of puppetry is an American puppetry art form. And it's one of the few art forms that have come from the United States. And they all recognize it as such. So
Yeah.
they love it. They really enjoy
Same
seeing
way
me do it.
jazz came to music from the U.S.
That's right, yeah.
Well, we got about a minute, and it's
Okay.
gonna go way too fast.
That's right.
Where do you go from here? Back to the working on the clothing line, or do you have shows coming up?
Back to the clothing line. I'm working very hard. It's all going to be original handmade garments made by me. So it's going to be me sewing everything in my studio. And in the future, hopefully more TV shows. If you want to hear my voice in a really cute, funny way, I did Waffles and Mochi, a restaurant on Netflix. I played Mochi. And so hopefully more shows like that as well.
We're out of time. Thank you so much for coming in and visiting with me and bringing our friend here.
Thanks so much for having me. Maybe you and I later we can go out and get an omelet.
I like it. Jerry, tell everybody goodbye, and we'll see them next time.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming out, and maybe one day we can get together and have some waffles. I love waffles.
Bye-bye, everybody.